says, and this is Ayah 49 of Surah Al-Fussilat, that human is not tired of supplication for good. لا يسأم الإنسان من دعاء الخير. He never gets tired if he's asking for something good for Allah Azza wa Jal. He never gets tired. But وَإِن مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ فَيَئُوسٌ قَنُوطٌ. What happens if evil touches him? He is hopeless and despairing. This is human psyche. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about our psyche in this ayah. And then afterwards, in the next ayah, he says, and it's a stunning statement, وَلَئِنْ أَذَقْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِنَّا مِنْ بَعْدِ ضَرَّاءٍ مَسَّتْهُ لَيَقُولَنَّ هَذَا لِي. If we let him taste mercy from us after an adversity which has touched him, he will surely say, this is due to me. هَذَا لِي. وَمَا أَظُنُّ السَّاعَةَ قَائِمَةً. I don't think there will be any day of judgment. وَلَئِنْ رُجِعْتُ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي. And even if I am made to go back to my Lord, then إِنَّ لِي عِنْدَهُ الْحُسْنَى. I will still be in a good condition if I go back. First of all, I am not going, but even if I go back, so just like I am here enjoying in this worldly life, I will continue to do so in the next life. Then in the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا أَنْعَمْنَا عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ أَعْرَضَ وَنَأَى بِجَانِبِهِ. When we bestow favor upon him, he turns away and distances himself. But when evil touches him, وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ فَذُو دُعَاءٍ عَرِيضٍ. Then he is full of extensive supplication. لَمْبِي تُرِدْ وَعِنْ ذُو دُعَاءٍ عَرِيضٍ. You know, whenever I come across this ayah, it reminds me when we travel, especially on a long flight, and they turn off the light in the cabin, and everybody has their little screen on, and everyone is watching something and trying to kill that time, and suddenly turbulence begins. So what happens? All these lights start going off, especially if there are more Muslims. In the flight, all these lights will start going off, and now everybody will be making dua. Turbulence goes away, lights on again. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that إِذَا أَنْعَمْنَا عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ, when he is in a good condition, أَعْرَضَ وَنَأَى بِجَانِبِهِ, he distances himself. He doesn't remember Allah. But وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ, but when evil touches him, فَذُو دُعَاءٍ عَرِيضٍ, now he is in extensive supplication. This is, in these three ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about human psychology. Respected brothers and sisters, challenges, issues, problems, calamities are part of our life. There is no way we can get rid of them. If one wills that, I don't want any problem, zero problem in my life. And suppose if you happen to find somebody whose du'as are all of them are accepted, and you request him, can you please make dua for me? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never allow any evil to touch me, and he makes dua, still won't happen. Why? The reason is that this dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already declared, is Darul Imtihan. This is Darul Bala. This is the place where trial will happen. We're not in Jannah. We're not in Darul Na'im. It is not like if we decide that no evil touches us and that happens, it's not going to happen. It is against how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala designed this world. Even if a person is in the best condition, he also has some problems in his life. At least this fear that I will die, this fear that my loved one will leave, this fear that my loved one will die, this fear that my status will be compromised. There's always some hidden fear in his mind. Why? Because this is the nature of this world. So it all depends. If that is the case, we will always have issues, we will always have problems in life. Then how do we make these problems positive? They're all negative stuff, but how do we turn them positive? It all depends on our reaction, on our behavior. If an evil touches us and we face a problem and we do not distance ourselves from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rather we come closer to Allah, it means that problem was a test for us and we are successful in that test. But if an evil touches us and we distance ourselves from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we do not go closer to Him, we make ourselves away from Allah, we do not return to Allah, it means that it's a trial for us and we fail in that trial. So the problems in this dunya, the trials in this dunya, can be form of mercy or can be azab, punishment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَنُذِيقَنَّهُمْ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَدْنَى دُونَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَكْبَرِ. We will surely make them taste al-azab al-adna, punishment that is near, that is closer, before that punishment which is further. So there will be a punishment, a form of punishment in this dunya. But how do we know the problem that I am facing is a punishment for me or is a test and a trial and a form of mercy? It all, again, as I said, it depends on our behavior. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in another ayah, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ. There are certain kind of people when they are affected by calamities, they always recite Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. They are the one upon whom the mercy and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. So it means not every time we face an issue, it's not a trial. It can be a form of mercy. We just have to turn it from its negative aspect to its positive aspect. But how do we do that? Without complaining. Remember the story of Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam? You know, before I talk about his story, a few months ago I had a chance to visit his grave. His grave is situated in Turkey. Some people say that it is in Sultanate Oman. Most scholars believe that he is in Turkey, and this area of Turkey used to be a part of Sham, Syria, before the First World War. So this place in Turkey called Urfa, and closer to this place is where the grave of Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam is. So we happened to reach there after Salatul Maghrib when the mazar was closed, and people were offering Salatul Maghrib. We were late, we couldn't catch the Salah. And then Imam found out that some visitors came from America and they had to leave tomorrow. So he especially opened that section, that area where the grave is. It's a small room. We went inside. We were already late, so we had to pray Salatul Maghrib. So after reciting Fatiha, we asked the Imam that should we go to the masjid and pray. He said, no, pray in the room. So the grave was behind us. It's right here. Like how this podium is away from me. That's how much distance we have from the grave of Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam and us. And we are offering salah. And the Kaaba is, and we were facing this direction, for instance. And amazingly, Imam started reciting the ayah. And he said, you know the ayah about Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam, that remember or mention Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam in the Quran. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Rabbi inni massani ad-durru wa anta arhamur rahimin. That, oh Allah, ad-dur, harm touched me, massani ad-dur, and you are the most merciful. He made this dua, Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam, and we were reciting these ayat about Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam, and we were so close to him, his grave. it really touched everyone's heart. It's a very interesting memory. You know, when you recite ayat of the Quran and you realize that those ayat are relevant, you understand countless meanings from those ayat. So Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam was sick for so long. His family abandoned him. His people left him. Even his children, his brothers and sisters, nobody would go closer to him, only him and his wife. Several years away from the town, just by a well. And then one day he made this dua, Rabbi inni massani al-dur, wa anta arhamur rahimin. And he didn't say, oh Allah, allow me to come out of this state. He didn't say that. He said, evil touched me and you are the most merciful. He's not complaining about the evil. He's just showing that, oh Allah, I am not capable of getting rid of this problem. You're the one who brought this problem to me in my life, and you were the one who can cure me. So without any complaint, he made this dua, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted it. This is how we learn the adab, the etiquette of dua. That if we are ever in a problem, without any complaining, we simply mention the problem, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed, and we mention in our dua that Allah azza wa jalla is the most merciful, and that's it. That's it. So when we do not complain, it means that the problem is a mercy for us. And if we complain, it means the problem is a punishment for us. So respected brothers and sisters, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in fact in a hadith he said, أَشَدُّ النَّاسِ بَلَاءً الْأَنْبِيَاءُ فَالْأَمْثَلُ. Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam, they face most problems in life than those who are closer to Anbiya, than those who are closer to those who are closer to Anbiya. So the more you're closer to Anbiya, chances are that you will have a lot of problems and issues in life. Why? Because Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam have to go through tremendous trials. In fact, any problem in this world today, it was given to a Nabi in the past first. For instance, and that reminded me a story. A few years ago, a sister called me. She had accepted Islam. Previously, she was Christian or something. She had accepted Islam and she left Islam already. And now she's calling. So she was saying that I was practicing Islam for a few months, little more than a year. But then I was told that your father, who had passed away a few years ago, will not go to paradise because he died as a kafir. And she said that I realized that if my father died as a kafir, as a disbeliever, and according to Islamic theology, he's not going to end up in Jannah, and I will be there if I die on Islam, then I will be living without my father. So why do I practice deen? A deen that will send my father to hellfire. So I left Islam. What do you say about that? So I respond saying that yes, it is a big issue. It's a very serious issue that in case if you die as a Muslim and you will be in paradise, but your father who had already passed away will surely be, and he passed away as a Christian, as a disbeliever, he will surely be in the hellfire if he died as a Christian, as a disbeliever. So you will be living apart. You will not be with your father. But do you think you're the first one who's experiencing this? Before you, many, many years before you, many, many centuries before you, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam had already experienced this. He was a prophet of Allah, but his father was a declared kafir. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even stopped Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam from making dua of istighfar, seeking forgiveness in the favor of his father. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was made dua. He promised his father that I will do istighfar for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam's entire life is a role model, except for this thing, that he promised his father to make istighfar for him, knowing that his father was a kafir. This is not a role model. So even Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was not allowed to do istighfar for his father. So he had to go through this problem first before others could go. So you think you're the only one experiencing this? Then I confronted him and confronted her and I said, if you really love your father and you cannot live away from him, and he died back in 2016, what are you doing now? And this is 2020. It was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I mean, if you love him that much, you should have committed suicide right after his death, thinking that I will go the same place where my father went. But you've survived. You're living your life happily. You have your job, you have your family, you have your home, you have your car, you have everything is going on perfectly in your life. And here you're complaining as soon as Islam comes, you're complaining that I cannot live without my father, where you're living without your father. So, as I said earlier, according to the hadith, every problem that comes in this life, a Nabi has to face that problem first, and then it is given to other people. And the Nabi is always successful in that trial. A Nabi is always successful in that test. And then some people, Ammatun Nas, some of us are successful and some of us, we unfortunately fail. So how do we become successful in these tests and trials in our life? One last thing and inshallah I will conclude. I was reading a story today, and that will be our last point. This guy wrote about how Africans back in the days used to hunt monkeys. So he said that they used to have a hole in a coconut, enough that a monkey could get his hand into. And they would put something edible that could attract monkeys, and they would keep the coconut there. Now monkeys would come and they'll put their hand in, and they get the thing. Now it is in their fist, but now their fist is locked, the hand doesn't come out. It can, if they let it go, the hand can easily come out, but their fist is locked. They want to grab that thing which is inside the coconut. Now the hand doesn't come out. So they start screaming. They don't want to let it go. They start screaming. And as soon as they start screaming, because they're stuck, humans come and they catch the monkeys. So the monkeys, because of his greed and desire, lose his freedom. He loses happiness for the rest of his life. Perhaps those Africans used to, eat these monkeys. Allahu Alam. You know what? When we think about ourselves, it looks like all of us are like monkeys. We have grabbed something in our hand and we don't want to let it go. We have a lot of pain in our life. We have grief, we have sorrow, we have sad memories. We have our negative emotions, so many things in our life, and we are holding on to them. We don't want to let them go. And we scream all the time. If that is the case, then surely we will fail in that exam, in that test that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put us to. But if we let them go, if we release those pain, those emotions, those sad memories, just let your palm open. Don't close it. Your hand will come out of the problem and you will become successful. It's a simple formula. So we all have problems in our life, but do not be affected by those problems. Say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Be positive. Be active in your supplication. And think about those people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran. أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ. If we change our behavior towards these negative moments in our life, then we will become entitled to this ayah that upon us will be peace and blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to follow the Quran and Sunnah, and Allah azza wa jal allow us to get rid of all problems in our life. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullah khairul jaza wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.